Thank you, everyone. Well, I thought I'd actually start with no slides and talk a little bit of a story. Actually, John Reimer, I know, is here. I was in San Francisco a few weeks ago with John talking about, digital strategy and intelligent automation. And a story came up from one of his cohorts about the time he bought a pizza oven from Williams-Sonoma. And he's going to tell me a story about customer service and customer experience and why he bought that pizza oven. And he lost me at, I bought a pizza oven. I spent several $100s on the pizza pronto. Their motto, cook pizza like a pro, like the pizza pronto. So I was thinking, well, I have 3 kids at home. I can't afford to have a unitasker in my kitchen. It takes up a ton of space. It's going to require maintenance. It's going to require service. And it only does one thing. It cooks pizza. And where am I going with this? Of course, the story's about tools. So I had to go to Williams-Sonoma and see what else they had. So I came over there and said, well, anyone know what this is? It's an artichoke, specifically for coring artichokes. So you can dig it out and then you core it out just like that. And of course, I bought some other ones. So if anyone wants to guess what this is, if you're guessing a strawberry, no, this is a tomato one. It's for pouring out the top of a tomato. And last one, let's see. I also have this one. Any guess? In case you don't have a knife, which who doesn't have a knife in their kitchen, you need to be able to core or get all the kernels off of your corn here. So you got to get it off. So where am I going with this? It's sometimes hard to look past the immediate business need when you're thinking about the tools you need to buy. When I think about, well, I have a problem right now. I have corn, and the kernel needs to come off the corn. What do I need to get the kernel off the corn? Well, there's, of course, a tool specifically designed for that. It has some cheap plastic and some cheap metal inside, but it does exactly that one job. And what happens when you go and buy all these devices? What happens to your kitchen? Well, you got like the artichoke thing, you got the avocado slicer, you got the tomato, you got all this stuff. You got a whole bunch of tools occupying your, well, in the analogy, your IT landscape. And now you have to maintain all these. So where am I going with this, of course? It's the importance of making smart decisions on the tools you use to drive your digital transformation. It's the idea that while we need to think about our immediate business needs, we need to look past what we need right now. And what is the tool that's going to last us for this year, next year, and allow us to transform and cook something different as well, and our kids want something else. So let's take a look at the IT landscape. And what does the world look like from our perspective? So if you think about our universe today, it's filled with all sorts of capabilities that we need to now unite in digital solutions. So there's things like cloud, there's things like natural language processing, artificial intelligence, BPM, analytics, BI. These aren't really solutions, they're tools. They're tools for which allow you to transform your business. And what is the challenge that we're facing now today? The challenge is how do we bring these together? If I need to do something simple, maybe I need to unite document management with business process management, with business rules, and create a service request management application, or maybe a vendor onboarding solution, something simple. And it's about uniting those solutions together in a seamless experience through automation, through case management, user experience, mobile capabilities, the tools that we use to unite these services. But on top of that, we also need to evolve that as we go forward. So we need to unite those in different ways, transforming and building something entirely new, combining artificial intelligence, cognitive services, new capabilities to produce an entirely new application. And this might meet our needs today. It might need our tomorrow, but we need to transform that again. We need to tell this to say, well, I need to become something else and become maybe a horse now. It needs to be faster, more agile. It needs to adopt new capabilities to adapt to my business needs. And finally, of course, we need to transform it again. It never really ends. The tools that we need to buy are tools that will last forever. This is why when you go to Williams-Sonoma, they always also sell those $300 knives, and they also sell a kerneler or a corn cobber as well. I suggest you go with a $300 knife because that's a tool that's going to allow you to continuously transform, use multiple ways, and always be useful inside your kitchen and not clutter it up with a ton of different IT tools. So Matt already introduced this topic that we need to build tomorrow's call center. And Appian's proud to be announcing our latest offering, which is the Intelligent Call Center Platform. This is a distinctly platform capability on the Appian product that allows you to build solutions on the Appian experience. So what exactly is this? Well, we're combining 4 core capabilities of the Appian product. And introducing Appian World today is the customer engagement piece. First, of course, customer engagement is all about expanding Appian to connect directly with your customers through SMS chat, through telephony services, through Facebook and Twitter and social capabilities, all brought into a seamless experience inside the Appian dashboard environment. And of course, as Matt also shared, Appian already is a leader in case management, building those 360-degree views of your customer experience, those intelligent dashboards that drive the overall agent desktop and give them exactly the right information to have context to solve that solution. Also powered with Appian's, of course, leading technology investments in intelligent automation around business process management, business rules, artificial intelligence, integration, and of course, robotic process automation with blueprism. And then finally, all built on a low-code, cloud-based platform, allowing you to easily adapt and easily expand the software through low-code design techniques. Now, what I want to transition to is invite someone to the stage by the name of Jorge Sanchez. Jorge Sanchez is going to guide us through a demonstration experience of this entire platform capability. And Jorge, if you could please come up and show us what we have.
Thank you very much, Malcolm.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to be here with you at the Keynote again. Last year, I talked a little bit about AI, and we're always excited at Product Strategy to talk about the latest and greatest things we've been working on. And today, I want to show you an application that provides a complete experience of something, which of course is the contact center. This combines a collection of different things in order to help you bring the customer experience you want to deliver to your customers. It just so happens that sometimes it's not just the app, but it's what the app enables your agents or your other employees to do. So let's take a look at that. Today I'll be playing a couple of roles for you. I'm going to be playing the role of Jorge, a friendly customer service agent for an office supply company called Vonesis. And helping me for the first part of this is Malcolm Ross. He's going to be helping me play the part of Mrs. Jane Taylor. Sorry, Malcolm. I already created the contact before I knew it was you, so. All right, so let me show you a little bit of what's going on, right? This is the screen I'm going to be seeing whenever I log in to my contact center. It's the agent dashboard. And meeting me right front and center is our knowledge base, our knowledge center. In this case, this week's focus is upselling and cross-selling. And it can be, of course, anything you want it to be. Here, if I click here, it's going to take me to some training documentation, training videos. To the right, we have a little bit of gamification for team standing, so I can see exactly where I'm ranking up as compared to other teams, other members of my team. Up in the top, I can see performance. So these are the key metrics that the agent cares about. So how am I stacking up with my up and cross-selling rate? How does that compare to the target that I'm supposed to be hitting? What about my average call resolution time, customer satisfaction, supervisor intervention? These are all metrics that the agent cares about. Now, if I focus your attention here on the left, you'll have a list of tasks that you can complete. These are follow-up tasks. These can be created either during an interaction or at this point when you're in the agent desktop. And then here is where I can set my availability. Right now it's unavailable, but at any time I feel I'm ready, I can make myself available for calls, chats, SMS messages, etc. So why don't we give this a try? Malcolm, would you mind doing the honors of placing a phone call?
Sure thing.
All right, so when Malcolm places a phone call, it's going to be received with a little bit of music, but then immediately picked up by the agent. Now you're going to notice that as soon as the call came in, a few things changed on the screen. On the upper left corner is still the same omni-channel component that we created, but it's sensitive and is context aware of what is happening. It knows that we're right now in the middle of a call. Underneath, since this is Appian and it's connected to all sorts of different systems, I'm going to use the information that I have about the person in this interaction, in this case the phone number, to try to identify who it is. So I'm actually cross-referencing all the accounts and this connected to the CRM system, all the contacts for those accounts, and any other points of data I have. And in this moment, it allowed me to identify, before I even utter the first word, who it is that is calling. And I can see that this is Mrs. Jane Taylor, an IT buyer from Penrose Energy, who is a gold status customer for us. Underneath that, you'll see the activity log. This is where the system is going to help you keep track of everything that is happening throughout this call. This is so I don't have to spend time typing all these notes. Have you ever heard that from an agent? Hold on, I'm just going to type this up. Well, wouldn't it be great if that was done for him so he can just focus on providing the service he wants for you? Then if you go here in the center, you'll see the prompter. This is how the system is going to guide the agent to say what he needs to say or provide suggestions of what he might want to say. Another way in which you can ensure that you have the right guidance for the agent. And underneath, we have a couple of cart layouts so we can have the big and easy way to access that information. So following the prompter, I can be like, hello, and thank you for contacting us. My name is Jorge. Am I speaking with Mrs. Jane Taylor?
Why, yes, you are, Jorge.
Excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. In order to maintain the security of your account, can I please have your date of birth and office phone?
That'd be March 8th, 1973, 703-606-9695.
Excellent. You'll notice that only when I verify both these pieces of information, I can move forward in this process. This is also completely configurable, and you can choose which fields from your contact account or anything you want to use and how many in order to validate this account. So I'm going to click Continue. And then, how can I help you, right? Oftentimes it's like, what can I do for you? You know, I can do this, or that. Well, wouldn't it be great if the system knew exactly what you have done in the past, what interactions we've had, and can maybe preemptively tell you, hey, do you happen to be calling about the order you placed earlier this morning, Mrs. Jane?
Why, yes, I am. How'd you know?
Perfect. I'll be happy to help you. How can I help you with your order today?
Well, I think I need to update the shipping.
Update the shipping, absolutely. I have two options for you. We can either do expedited two-day shipping for $9.99 or overnight for $19.99.
I really need it tomorrow, so can you add that to overnight?
Overnight, I'll be happy to do that. Now, since I have you on the phone, Mrs. Taylor, I want to let you know that we're offering a discounted price on HP ink cartridge color. Regular price is $57.99, but because you're a gold member with us, we're going to offer you an additional 20% discount, making it only $46.39. Would you like me to add this to your order?
I could have swore I added that already, but if I didn't, please do.
All right, absolutely. So notice how this part, I had an offer recommendation powered by AI. This is running off an actual AI recommendation engine, and we call it a personalized recommendation. What that means is that it's going to take into consideration not only the complete order history of every order we've ever placed, but the personalized area of that means that I'm going to take into consideration the items in this current order, the history, the purchase history of this specific person and the organization that I'm talking about to provide the best match. Now, this is for a simple use case of order product management, but this can also be the offer that you want to do to prevent churning, maybe the additional product you want to order, anything you want, you can configure with this type of recommendation. All right, Mrs. Taylor, I've updated your order. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
No, thanks. That's all.
All right, perfect. So at this point, I want you to pay a quick attention to the activity log. Everything that we've done has been automatically logged for you, and I can go ahead and end the call. When I end the call, I don't go immediately back to the point where I started, but I rather have what is called the wrap-up phase. This is where the agent can spend a little more time, if he wanted to, adding additional notes, tagging the interaction. You'll see that the system learns as interactions happen and can automatically tag this for you. But if I wanted to spend more time here, I can add additional text. Add a follow-up task, for example, so I can click this button, assign something here, and say, hey, make sure that this ships today, or anything like that. And then when I'm ready, I can wrap up the call. And this brings me straight back to the point where I was before. Now, there's a number of different ways. One of the things that have changed over the years with the contact center is that phone calls are not the only way we interact anymore. So another way, of course, is with SMS messages. So here I have a recording because that I want to show with you of a previous interaction that we recorded with an SMS customer. So what happens is I'm going to click play. I'm going to make myself available for SMS messages, and then they're going to send the text, right? A few things are going to happen as soon as the text comes in. You'll notice that the text is somebody that is not happy with their order. And you'll also notice that the prompter changed from simple text to a chatbot icon. Now this is now a chatbot-assisted interaction. What that means is that we plug this into a chatbot. We're using in the back end Google's Dialogflow, so it provides a complete intent framework and anything that we need to do in order to be able to capture and analyze the information that is coming from the SMS, send that over to them, then the chatbot lets us know what to say next. So and also, just underneath, we also have an example of how you can use Appian's own sentiment analysis to determine, hey, this could be a rather negative or rather positive or really positive or negative interaction, and that can also drive what it is that you might want to say to the customer. So when I click on this card, the information is pasted right here so the agent can verify it one last time, make any last-minute modifications, and then decide to send this information over. Once this happens, then the other person will, of course, reply. And the really cool thing about this interaction is, I don't know if you might have not noticed because the screen is the mouse is not showing here, but the context of what it's saying and the chatbot is actually driving the interaction. The agent did not have to click yes, right? It's happening automatically. So you can actually drive the whole interaction based on what the customer is saying. You might also notice that when verifying the information here, I'm no longer asking for 2 fields, I'm only asking for 1. So it's very easy to configure this as we go through. So here I can say, can I get the last 4 of your social security number? We say yes, the account has been verified. I see that you placed the order recently. So it's similar to the interaction we just saw, except that instead of spending time typing, you click, you accept the suggestion, you click, you accept the suggestion. And if you do have a moment where you need to interject, the agent has the full flexibility to do so. So here I can see I'm not happy with the shipping. So okay, it'll tell you currently it's going to be shipped overnight. Can I help you with some of the items or anything like that? So we can continue this whole interaction until we're done. Now, it's really, really interesting to highlight the different technologies that I talked about, right? I mean, the ability to define to define the guidance via a chatbot is really, really a powerful experience. But I also want to point out another part of what I showed you today, which is the prompter. So with that, I want to show you another functionality that we built, which is called interaction scripts. So many companies treat their customers or engage with their customers in a lot of different ways. So I might have said, hello, Mrs. Taylor, but you might want to call them by their first name. You might want to change their greeting. You might want to change or completely personalize that information, and you do not want to necessarily go through the designer and change that back and forth. So we basically created an experience that allows you to create scripts in a completely new way. So you define what the name is, what the welcome message you want. So this is what I'm going to say, hello and thank you for contacting us. What I want to say if I identify who's calling. What I want to say if I don't identify who's calling. What fields do I want to use to identify the customer from all of those that I have available. When I'm in the validation steps, which and how many fields do I want to use to validate this account? And again, this is being pulled in real time from the contact information that we have access to from the CRM system. We can also determine how many correct responses we need to move forward. And finally, the triage options. How do I want to introduce them? Do I want to say I can help you with this, this, and that? Do I just want to say how can I help you? Out of the available triage options I have, which ones do I want to enable for this interaction? And as soon as this is saved, then we're going to go and we can say, okay, this is the incoming SMS script. This is how I configured it, and I can update it at any time. I can even export this to a chatbot. So that's another really powerful feature where you have a single click of a button that is going to take all of this information, create the intent framework for you, define how the integration is going to work, and push it over to the chatbot. Or another way that people like to communicate with us is VPAs, Virtual Private Assistants. So I'll show you that in just a minute. Now, another thing that I want to show you today is, and you might remember the screenshot from Matt's keynote presentation just a few moments ago, is our manager's desktop. A very important role because this person, the manager or supervisor, is in charge of making sure that all the people and all the agents have everything that they need in order to provide the right customer experience, and they also need to know when they need to intervene. So you might notice that here, I'm taking a look at every single interaction that is happening in the system. But the system is not just saying all of that information, it's also helping me out by sorting all the things that the system thinks I may want to monitor or I may want to join all the way in the top. So if, for example, a specific conversation is taking too long, Or if the sentiment is particularly low, it's going to be pulled up to the top. I can also see the information based on a specific queue. So if I click here on orders queue, it's going to show me all the different interactions that I have. And I can see, for example, that, hey, Deborah has a particularly low sentiment, what's going on. I can click here and then see particular details about her. I can see that on average, her call length has been increasing. Her average cross-sell has been decreasing over time. Customer satisfaction is not bad. So maybe when I talk to her, I know exactly the areas that I need to focus on, the right training I may need to recommend in order to improve the overall satisfaction. Also, depending on which queue I'm on, I may want to define what is my priority weighing. What are the things that the people in this type of queue should care about the most? Maybe I need a higher sentiment score, and I also care about a higher cross-sell average or shorter call duration. So you can configure these any way you want so that the system takes that into consideration. So when I come here and I click on rebalance queue, it knows how to do it for you. So some systems just say, this is what it is, this is what you have. I hope you can figure it out. That's just an insight. But when you get to the actionable insight is when the system can provide all of those actions automatically for you. So just clicking this button will take this into consideration. We'll take your specific configuration here to say, hey, maybe John Rogers needs to be moved from the morning to the afternoon shift or taken from one queue to the other in order to maximize the scores in the way that you care about. Now, of course, voice and chat are not the only ways that we interact with our customers today. We do that in a number of different ways. And I don't know how many people here use Siri, Alexa, Google. So I don't know if you noticed I have a Google device right here. So you can actually talk to us this way. When you click on that export chatbot button, you can actually deploy that to the application if you configure it the right way and you want to do it that way. So let's give that a whirl. Okay, Google, talk to Appian support.
Version of Appian support. Hello, and thank you for contacting us. My name is Jorge. In order to better assist you, I will need to look up your account. Do you have the phone number or email address associated with this account?
Yes, it's 703-606-9695.
Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. In order to maintain the security of your account, can you please provide me with your last four of your social security number?
8247.
How can I help you today, Mrs. Taylor?
Okay, Google, stop. Now, what's really incredible is the fact that we've shown this before. We've shown Alexa integrations. We've shown BPA integrations before. But it's the fact that we were able to completely configure this using the script designer and with one click of a button automatically create all the interactions and everything that we saw. So let's move back to our slides here. And here's where we can see what's going on with the whole interaction. So Google Dialogflow is what's driving the interaction through the VPA. But when we go to the next part, we see that we interact with Google Dialogflow with web APIs. And web APIs give you access to basically everything else in our system. So that means that we can use rules, decision tables, data, processes, and everything that we want in order to drive the interaction that we need. So when I say, for example, when Google says, give me your phone number, and I give it the phone number, Dialogflow says, okay, Appian, somebody gave me this phone number, what do I say next? And we're not hard-coding what to say next on Dialogflow. We're using decision tables and all the power of the Appian platform to basically say, okay, it's this account, it's this person, let's call them, say this. So it's a really interesting thing to do this. So then the information goes back to Dialogflow, and then the Google Home device talks back to you. And this is the same way that you would configure it with any other chatbot-assisted or VPA-assisted interaction. So that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I'll give it back to Malcolm so we can continue this breaking down what we saw. Thank you very much.
Great job, Jorge.
Thanks.
Thank you. So again, that is the Appian Intelligent Contact Center platform. Everything Jorge showed you is what can be built on Appian, the latest version of our product. But we want to learn a little bit of how that was actually built. To help me with that, we're going to talk about two key features of the Appian platform, the customer engagement features that we just saw, the telephony, chat capabilities, as well as the UI capabilities now that are being introduced as part of Appian's overall case management capabilities. To help me with this, I'd like to invite Rachel Rader to the stage, our senior product manager from our product engineering team. Great, thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Malcolm. I'm very proud to be here today representing the engineering team to share what we've been hard at work at over the last year. After seeing that demo from Jorge, there's probably one question on your minds. What exactly is that thing in the upper corner of the screen? So I can talk about it. It's a new component, just like any other interface component that we have in the Appian platform. This component allows you to participate in a voice call or a chat interaction. It blends in seamlessly to the rest of your interface, and it's powered by Twilio. So behind the scenes, this is using Twilio's voice and chat capabilities. Like the rest of our Sail components, it takes advantage of the same dynamic behavior, the parallel processing that Matt was talking about, and capabilities like theming and accessibility so that it works for your platform. When you're using it in a chat interaction, same thing. It's just the one component that supports both capabilities. So you can configure it for your contact center, whether you're using voice only or chat only or a combination of the both. In addition to Twilio capabilities, you can also pair Appian up with Genesis. To do this, you can take advantage of Appian's native embedding capabilities to embed Appian records, reports, and forms into Genesis Pure Cloud. This way you can bring the two capabilities together into one interface. In addition to Twilio and Genesis, you can also combine Appian with the telephony capabilities of Temesis. Temesis offers voice, video, chat, and co-browsing capabilities, which you can bring into the Appian platform using our web content field. This is similar to what Matt shared earlier, where you can just drop a map or another website right into your Appian interface. Temesis can be brought into your Appian interface the same way. Here we can see an agent starting a chat interaction with a customer. The interface updates right away to bring that customer's information. And if this interaction evolves into a situation where they want to have a co-browsing session, you can initiate that co-browsing session right from the Temesis component. And just like that, your agent and your customer can share a screen and continue troubleshooting. I'd also like to talk a little bit more about card layout. You've seen it all over the place in the interfaces that Matt showed, all over the demos that Jorge just gave. Card layout is a new layout capability coming in Appian 18.2. It's a layout just like any of our other layouts. You can put components inside it. You can change the size of it. You can change the background color to anything you want. We're using it here to show performance benchmarks in this manager dashboard, but of course you can use it in a variety of ways. To organize your form, to call out key pieces of information. You can use it to guide your users through a step-by-step process. It's an extremely flexible layout, and it's coming in 18.2. It's very common to combine it with rich text. We've used rich text all over our interfaces and everything that you'll see today. In 18.2, rich text will also have new capabilities to configure the color to be anything you want. We've also enhanced the design experience to make it even faster. Another important part of configuring your interface is to make sure that everything appears exactly where you want it to in the layout. You can get pixel-perfect control over where your various interface components appear by changing the width of the columns. This helps you get the overall layout correct on the entire page, but also at a more fine-tuned level, you can control how a given component appears next to another component. The screens don't just look great, it's also easier and faster to build them. Let's take a closer look at the new drag and drop capabilities that Matt mentioned earlier. Here you can see a new layout for our interface design experience. The same capabilities that you're familiar with are still there, but we've moved things around a little bit to make room for the new drag and drop palette. Here you can see we're quickly dragging a few components from the palette, arranging them in the form. With a few configurations, we're quickly building out an input form. You can see it was very easy to duplicate a component once we'd already built it. This is available in a context menu, or for users who are comfortable with keyboard shortcuts, we have those as well. This makes it very easy to rapidly prototype your interfaces, build them out, and of course test them under the conditions that your users would see. Now you can measure your interface creation time in minutes and seconds instead of days, alluding back to what Matt was talking about, where we want to cut the time it takes to build your applications in half. And just like that, we've built out a form for a customer service request. It's one thing to build out the form and see it live, but if you are using Appian for mobile, it's also helpful to see how your users would experience these interfaces at their form factor. So with the new mobile form factor feature, you can test out your interface as it would appear on a laptop or on a tablet or on a phone. This preview capability is available in the Interface Designer. Speaking of mobile, I'm happy to announce that now you can access our mobile beta app. This is a new version of Appian's mobile app. We've overhauled the user experience so that the interfaces look even better. And if you'd like to express interest in accessing our mobile beta, you can reach out at mobile@appian.com. This capability is coming later this summer, but today you can access the early version if you want to test it out. Now I'll turn it over to Malcolm to wrap up.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So excited to get this in your hands. Of course, all the Interface Designer capabilities available very soon, the latest version of Appian. But we have more, of course. There's two more parts to the overall talk here, and that's around intelligent automation and, of course, our core capabilities around low-code cloud platform as well. And, of course, we have some more updates around that as well. So let's go right into intelligent automation. Now, some of you might have been with Appian a number of years and have experienced that transition from the old design experience to the new design experience. We're happy to announce for the latest version of 18.2, the old design experience is no more. And we've moved all the monitoring capabilities and process debugging and alerting capabilities now to the modern design experience, which means you have a single design console to both build all your solutions as well as debug them. And of course, we didn't just focus on migrating them, but again, we're trying to cut half the time. So we've optimized the capability to quickly debug and analyze process performance, alerts, and notifications. So now, right inside the process modeler, I can very quickly traverse the process history, see unsolved errors. I don't need to go back to the alerts area. I can quickly resolve things right inside the process instance views, navigating right from the modern design experience. So again, doubling the time, or having the time, rather, it takes to monitor and debug your process applications. Going on with that, we've also had some important strategic investments over the past year with Appian RPA with blueprism. Now, if you haven't actually seen the blueprism tool, there's a chance to take a look at what exactly it does. And there's a reason we chose blueprism specifically, because we think it perfectly mirrors Appian's philosophy on low-code design. Unlike any other RPA vendor, it has the least amount of coding and scripting required to create very complex robotic interactions through an intuitive design experience. So inside of here, I can see, as I lay out in a visual model exactly what I want the robot to perform, I can then also visually trace exactly the steps it's going to perform as a robotic fills its actions. Now, where do you actually apply robotic process in digital workforce? Let's take a look at an example here. Where very frequently have repetitive tasks by customer service agents or other internal operations people. They receive things like this Excel spreadsheet. I need to migrate all the information from Excel spreadsheet, and I don't have an API to a backend system, so I need to employ a robot to basically get that information in my target environment. Now, of course, a robot's very effective in this type of tool, where I can do lightweight integrations to very quickly take information and very quickly load it into those backend systems, saving thousands of man hours often in repetitive task behavior that you're now employing your workforce to perform. But of course, it's more than that. Appian's also happy to announce that we're also going to be releasing today the Appian RPA with blueprism, a reference application on the application marketplace, available for you to download right now. Now, what does this do exactly is it's going to include a number of key capabilities around monitoring dashboards, a task interceptor, which is going to be able to monitor tasks coming from the blueprism environment. If an exception occurs, like the robot was unable to perform the action, it will automatically trigger attacks in the Appian system. a new integration object from blueprism to Appian to pass complex data structures back and forth between the systems, and of course a task handler inside the Appian platform as well, with dashboards and case management frameworks to handle all those interfaces. So if you're looking to take your robotic workforce to the next level, again, integrating with the Appian system and seamlessly integrating human tasks with robotic tasks gives you a complete robotic automation platform. So going on, again, go to the next slide. So the next slide, I know it's coming up soon, but, oh, there it is. I'm seeing two things. There we go. So the manager desktop experience, of course, is all about that sentiment analysis that Matt talked about earlier. So with the sentiment analysis capability, Appian's shipping with native AI capabilities. Now, in the mantra of Appian, we want to make this super simple. Again, the biggest challenge with AI that we see in the market is for customers like yourself to understand how to effectively integrate these capabilities into your product solutions. Sometimes artificial intelligence and machine learning can be a complex task to overcome. So we see the most productive ways to start integrating cognitive services inside the Appian platform and making it extremely easy to integrate those cognitive services in your application designs. This is first being introduced with sentiment analysis. If you want to choose sentiment analysis inside your overall application, simply reference this function, sentiment score. It's a simple function like any other function inside the Appian platform. You can use in business rules, use in process, use in email parsing. You simply give it the text and it's going to give you a score back. Now, why this is valuable is for, again, the call center agent desktop manager. Of course, the individual interaction helps the agent. They can see the sentiment. They can also read the text themselves. But a call center manager might need to monitor thousands of agents at a time. And I need to automatically prioritize based on sentiment score. Since Appian is referencing this now as a simple function, you can use this for automatic task assignment, automatic reprioritization of work queues, automatic rules and decision tables, all driven based on sentiment score natively inside the Appian Cloud Platform. Now, on top of this, we've also introduced a number of capabilities to essentially add no-code integration to AI services. We recognize that many of the AI services you're going to use are not going to be part of Appian. You're going to try to use the best-of-breed AI platforms, such as Google Cloud Platform, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure. So we want to make it, again, extremely easy with no coding required to tie Appian to these core AI services. So let's see exactly how this works. In the new connected systems architecture, you're going to have a simple menu queue here, where I can choose maybe some open standard connections, and then some AI machine learning capabilities. Now I'm going to choose here Google Natural Language Processing. Now I don't know anything about the RESTful API or the JSON string or all that coding-centric mechanisms required to actually connect to these services. Appian's already aware of how to integrate to Google Natural Language Processing. The only thing it's really going to ask me for is the API key. What's my authentication to Google? Once I have the API key, I can go ahead and create an integration, and now I have a point-and-click configuration of how I want to use natural language processing. You can see in the upper left-hand menu, I have different entities and objects I can choose from. So how do I want to apply the NLP? I can give it a text string right there, and now I'm done. I now have an integration to Google Natural Language Processing, zero code, simply checking some boxes, give it my API key, and now I have a rule function I can apply anywhere inside the Appian platform. You don't need to know anything about REST APIs or the documentation around these products. That same pattern is also repeated for Azure Lewis, the language understanding service for intelligent context awareness of text strings, as well as Amazon Machine Learning, where you can set up your own custom AI algorithms and then apply those inside the Appian product very seamlessly. Now, on top of this, we've also introduced the capability of integrating to open API platforms. So the open API capability is all about connecting to open systems. Now, if you're not familiar with OpenAPI is an industry standard for publishing the documentation and communication of RESTful API services. Now that Appian understands OpenAPI, we can integrate to platforms, again, using a no-code integration technique. If I want to choose OpenAPI, I simply choose the OpenAPI file right here. I'll get the menu. And down below, I'm going to see that I select the OpenAPI Swagger document. The Swagger document is a document description for English reading of exactly how that REST API is going to work. I don't need to actually know what's going on with the RESTful API. I'm going to connect here to Box, done authorizing. Now I have a connection to the Box platform using OpenAPI. And now I simply see a list of here are all the operations I can perform with Box. I didn't need to, again, read their documentation, know anything about REST. I simply say, I want to do the get folder items function, and now I have simple prompts. On the left-hand side, I see the parameters. On the top hand, I see which folder ID I need to pass it. So I didn't need to code at all. Now I have integration to Box without any coding using the Open API standard. Again, I don't have to go read RESTful documentation. It's all right there. So really excited to get these integration functions available to you in the latest version of Appian. Now on top of this, Matt covered this before, we have a very strong commitment to delivering an enterprise class platform. Extremely high availability, 4 nines of availability last year, and of course supported also by our high availability offering with a 15-minute RPO contract. On top of that though, Appian is a leader in the number of security certifications on our platform to give you the confidence that the information you're running in Appian is secure in that environment, and of course available in your global regions. Now Matt also discussed this around doubling the throughput of the Appian process engine, having a up to 300% increase in parallel processing, and of course Docker and Kubernetes. These are really important architectural investments by Appian inside the Appian product. Now the first of which is the doubling of the process throughput. We've had customers run as many as 80 million processes inside their environment. Now of course, as you said, very few of our customers are already at the top tier, but we double that up to running as many as 1 to 1.5 million processes in a day to transact your high enterprise requirements. Now also, not to be undone as far as overshadowed is the parallel processing capabilities also introduced in Appian 17.4 last year. It's a little bit of a computer science-y topic here. And I'm going to revel in my computer science degree for a second here, but CPU, multi-core CPU parallel programming is really hard. Typically in a typical 3GL development environment like Java or .NET, you need to manually inspect your code to see where you have opportunities to perform parallel processing. Why do you want to perform parallel processing? Because if you do multiple things simultaneously in a multi-core CPU, you can do it faster. Your UIs are going to be faster, your rules are going to run faster, your processes are going to run faster. This is actually a patented technology that's only available in Appian that will allow you to define any logic inside the Appian platform, in your business rules, in your user interfaces, in your process logic, and will automatically and intelligently analyze all your code and optimize that for multi-core CPU transaction processing. So what does that mean? It means that if I'm calling, say, I need to call Box, I need to call Google Natural Language Processing, I need to call Azure, all in one interface, like the agent desktop experience. We were calling sentiment analysis, all these different AI services. We need to run those in parallel. Otherwise, it's going to take forever for that dashboard to run. Parallel processing becomes so important when you have that distributed architecture of composite services forming an application, fetching data in real time and in parallel. So again, we're really happy if you've been enjoying that already in 17.4. It's still in the latest versions of Appian in 2018 as well. And of course, going towards the future direction of Appian, Docker and Kubernetes are so important because, again, it's cloud portability. You can now install Appian inside of a Docker container and orchestrate those containers in the Kubernetes platform. Why this is important is because it's going to allow you to decouple the architecture of the Appian platform into any cloud architecture you want. These are industry standard ways of managing the deployment of software and easily scaling that software both vertically and horizontally inside your architecture. So with that, I'd like to wrap up and summarize that, again, we're happy to be introducing the latest version of Appian. We saw some great customer engagement features with chat, telephony, case management capabilities with a new interface designer, drag and drop, and new card layouts and pixel-perfect style controls inside the overall sale dashboard. Intelligent automation with a modern design and debugging experience for processes and overall RPA capabilities with a new RPA reference application, and finally the low-code application platform. We'd like to invite everyone, of course, to experience these directly inside the Appian Pavilion booths. We'll have the solution consulting team ready to demo those to you, let you get some hands-on time with the new interface designer as well. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone, of course, for your commitment to Appian. We would not be here if it weren't for you as customers, so we really recognize that. We're so appreciative of your investment in the Appian product, and we want to extend that investment or that thank you back to you with having a great Appian World and great event. This is a picture of the Appian engineering team. Appian's 100% built in the USA. All of our team is here in the Washington, D.C. metro area and getting well over 200 staffers basically focus on core development of the Appian product. So we all thank you, and we'll hope you have a fantastic Appian World for the rest of the convention. Thank you.